Oh, sorry. Now I had it on mute. Hello, guys. Seniors. Can you hear me now? Give me some life signs from the chat. Are you there, seniors? It should work now. Okay, nice. Thank you. Good to see you guys. So many Zen OGs in the chat. So good to see you. So good to see you. Hello, Jack Dawson, GRC, Mr. Me. Good to see you guys. Hello, hello, hello. Today I thought we were going to have some fun for a change. I think you're going to love this. I hope so. So I see a lot of excitement for NEX, the new reflection token from Zen. And I think you should be excited. I'm super excited. I can't wait to talk about this. So like first of all, I have to say I love this community, guys. There's so much love. There's so much smart people. There's so good energy. It's a bear market, and people are just killing it every day in the same community. All people in chat, the moderators, the devs, the dev ecosystem is taking shape. They're hungry, guys. Hungry wolf hunt the best. The international people from all over the world. And we're here because we believe in these principles, in this mission. All influencers talking about Zen all the time, educating, welcoming, being friendly, really crunching all the different data and the numbers every day. I'm really happy about that. Makes me very happy. Makes me very hopeful for this project and for the future as well. So, Senians, we're the best. So, NEX is the new reflection token from Fair Crypto Foundation, and I wanted us to dig in a little bit in the design of NEX because and I want us to do this together because it's a long way to go, but I want to get your minds working on it right away. Jack's amazing at this. I've learned so much from him. He absorbs all the thoughts and ideas from so many people, and it really works. Like we did this from the start, if you remember, with Zen Protocol. So after the light paper, the first draft, we incorporated community, got a lot of feedback, had many fruitful discussions, which led to the protocol being a lot better and a lot stronger than it was. So we of course can apply this with this protocol as well. So even fathers, guys, they're amazing. Fathers reinforce your beliefs. They make you loop it, and your beliefs need to be challenged. So 90% of what they say is just like humor that we can laugh at, and we're doing it a lot. But 10% is also very useful because it's critical thinking that we can use to, if you have a critical mindset, which you can lose sometimes when you're in it, it's good to absorb those thoughts as well. So fathers are welcome. Prize girls, they know where to go. They have their sandbox. They go and they go to the box and they comb each other's hair. But the fathers are funny. So let's get right in. Here's the thing: in order for you to understand all of this, okay, before we dig into the flows and the incentives and all of that, we sort of need to take a step back and understand in what context NEX is being created. Okay, so in order for you to take part in this design, you need to understand where are we coming from with this. So I made a little. Jesus, I'm so excited. I can't breathe. Here we go. So this is the agenda for today, guys. Sit down in class. We're going to talk about the NEX token. We're going to talk about what it is. We're going to talk about why we're doing it. when we're doing it, how we're doing it, and then I'm going to take your guys' questions. So I'm not going to look at the chat so much during, because then I can't focus. But please write down your questions and save them. So here we go. NEX. What is NEX? NEX is a ERC20 token. And we wanted to make a limited supply token. So it's going to be limited to 100 million. And the distribution of the supply is inverse exponential over 5 years. And we're going to talk about what that means, because that's probably like a difficult word. And the inflation will be predetermined daily. Like predetermined over the 5 years, distributed like daily. So NEX is basically, if you describe it, it's a token distribution model with sustainable incentives. Maybe that's not the best description, but that's how I would say it at this time. So there's two parts in this design, and it's the distribution of the token, and it's the reflection of the yield. So these are the like two main parts, that the two main Legos of this construction. So when it comes to the distribution of the token, it's done through competition, through burning of Zen. So that's a very interesting dynamic. And the reflection is basically the yield is generated and then the yield is distributed. So the generation is and distribution is through reflection, so to speak. So the behavior to maximize your NEX, basically, and this is what's guiding this design, is how can we burn as much Zen as possible as fast as possible? And how can you stake, and then also if you stake NEX for as long as possible. So that's how you win, basically. That's how you maximize your NEX. So basically, a user can mint a new very scarce token and also stake it to generate yield coming from users who unstake before you from transaction taxes, from volume, and allocations from competition. So those are the three, and we're going to cover them more deeply. So the first is the first is the competition of whoever burns the most, and second, it's the competition of whoever stakes the longest. So whoever burns the most and whoever stakes the longest gets the most token and the most yield. And the utility is to convert Zen, which has a very long time horizon, to something that has a lower time horizon. And we talked about this, the different time horizon and the time aspect of value, right? So with Zen, you have like an infinite disinflationary supply, and then you have an amplifier that stops at 8 years, and you have sort of a 0 point. And now we're taking that long time horizon, and we can convert that value into something with a shorter time horizon, basically. So it's like you're converting Zen into something more rare, like a limited supply NFT, but very basic, like Bitcoin. So that's like iteration number one of like what is NEX, and the rest is details. So this, if you look at this later and come back to this, it probably makes a lot of sense as well, hopefully. So let's continue. Let's talk about why NEX. Why are we doing it? So it's basically a vertical integration of Zen, like we talked about last week, and we need DeFi products that work with proper design. So that's why we're doing it. So let's take a short recap what we did last week here, as you remember, just to always like get an overview of what is it that we are doing, basically. So Zen, as we talked about, it's this horizontally scaling protocol that goes like far and wide to chain after chain. and Zen is the cash. And then we have these vertical integrations, like protocols that utilize Zen, give Zen value, but also provide value, which can either be complementary, featuring Zen, like Zen Torrent, or staking NFTs or similar, or it can provide another economic energy system, which is like this NFT or Nex or Phoenix. Like, by the way, check this out, guys. Have you seen these quotes here? Here it says, "Be the path, do not seek it," from Yara Chalamer. Big shout out to Claire, OG Senian. She found all of these quotes for us, and they are now everywhere, and they're gonna be there infinitely. So thank you, Claire. It's pretty cool. I love them. It's like you're taking something inspirational while you're doing something and just incorporating it into something like immutable, and then you're it's there. So I like that touch. Anyway, so yeah, the point here is that we want to build with first principles, but people have different horizons with time and money, different needs, different things they want to do with it. And we sort of have to make, like, if we're coming from a perspective that we don't like the systems that we're in and we want to create new ones, we sort of have to recreate everything that we're used to, all the different options that we have in the real world. So we need DeFi, and we need DeFi to be based on first principles for it to work. So, you know, like, you do you and I do me, but I'm not going to invest in anything more ever that doesn't live up to these first principles. It's just like, it's not worth it. Like, why would I invest in something where I have to give up my custody when we've seen again and again and again that it doesn't work? Why would I invest in something that is centralized or not transparent, when I don't know what's going on? So, like, we need to create a variety of all these different protocols as well. So ultimately, everything we're building here, all the creations ultimately give utility for Zen as well. So it's like, we have two choices. Like, Zen is immutable, it's already there. It's like, it will continue to grow even if we're there or not, basically, because people are going to figure it out. But instead of just waiting for people to figure out how great it is, let's just like kick ass and build cool stuff that makes sense as well, because we're like hungry to get them out, and we have so many ideas. So what I like with this as well is that it creates a alignment between normies and degens, so to speak. So Zen is still very easy to participate in, and we can give this to anyone. And then we degens can just have fun with this, and everything that we're doing creates utility for Zen. So it creates like a good alignment between us that want to create something and want to create these new products, but also that builds up the value for the new people coming in later, that doesn't have like this burning desire to maybe create all of this protocol and use them, but it sort of like pans the way, maybe it's the right word, for the normies coming in later and want to use something useful. So like, see Zen as the like P2P cash. So it's economic like value in different shapes and forms. So Zen is the P2P, it's the cash, and it's the cash that's needed to participate in the economy. Not only the Zen economy, but with time, we hope that it can be used everywhere. NFTs, they are more like diamonds, you know. With the unicorns, there's only one verifiably 100 of them. So like, if you have people that value this store of value into something that won't inflate away, and that's super scarce, that's going to appeal to them. With staking NFTs that we're building, it's super cool because it's an instrument that carries like 19% yield, and that carries that for up to 1,000 days, and you can trade with it. So it's also like an amazing product that we're going to make. And then we also have NFT lending, which is you want to be able to do all of this stuff with your money. So you want to be able to borrow and so on and so forth. So and occasionally you might need like liquidity provision with flash loans to settle your mints or whatever. So we need all of this. And then we have Phoenix, which is super interesting, guys, because it's an ecosystem project. Trustless yield, delayed gratification, completely built with first principles. And if there's one thing I'm like super proud of, is that we've managed to attract like really good quality developers who want to build with Zen, like Joe Blau. I have huge respect for this man. Like, watch out, he's gonna make great stuff. WHAAAT, also his partner, amazing guy, aligned with the ethos, very, very competent, very experienced, very fast, very transparent. And they are basically amplifying this vision of a first principles DeFi ecosystem. So very excited for that. And like the good trade-off here, and this is why Phoenix is such an amazing use case for us to focus on, because like they can focus on making a really good product and then use these horizontal scaling that Zen is like paving the way for. So while Zen is going to chain after chain, they're going to deploy Phoenix right away on 10 different chains, like, and they're going to continue deploying it on like all the other chains that we go to as well. So like think about that, how fast, if you make something with good quality, and we have to analyze Phoenix, of course, but if you do it, then the potential is that you can scale like very fast. Joe has already shown it. He deployed, he made Zen.fyi. He came in and he made Zen.fyi. Like he came in a week before launch and made Zen.fyi right away as an alternate like minting site for Zen, and deployed it like on every other chain we are at. So like he's very competent in what he's doing. So I'm just so excited about that. It's going to be great. And now we have the next reflection token. So we're going to talk more about this, which is basically we have to like think about how we would describe it. But the way I see it is it's the world's first multi-chain limited supply token based on first principles. So it's pretty exciting. And then people ask, like, what has like all this DeFi stuff? Why are we focusing so much on it? What does that have to do with adoption? Shouldn't we focus more on getting adoption for Zen? This is adoption for Zen. This is how it looks like, you know. So like, if you have an apple, if you're going to collect apples from an apple tree, so we draw you here. Here you are, and your task is to collect all of these apples as efficiently as possible. So how do you do it? How do I do it? Like this little string man. Sorry, old habit. Where do you start? Like, do you go here and like pick this apple, which is like someone's grandma who doesn't have MetaMask, who doesn't know what a layer 1 is? Or do you start here with this apple, this little DeFi apple? You start with this one because it's the lowest hanging fruit. It's this concept of lowest hanging fruit. So you start there, and then you take DeFi on all chains, and then there and there, and then here. Hello, grandma, how you doing? Like this is how easy it is, and then you have the whole world. So that's how you that's how you start. So it's like the we have to start somewhere, and DeFi is the lowest hanging fruit, and DeFi is needed, and we want to be able to do all of this stuff with our money. So that's the perspective, and you need to have this in mind before we like go into the weeds of the tokenomics. So enough about that perspective. But let's continue, guys. Let's talk about when. So this is how we're doing things. We are doing the design right now. So like we are just designing something. We think there's a need for something. There should be a limited supply token in this ecosystem based on first principles. We want it. People want it. So we sort of made an initial version 1 of a design with all the components. And now we're reaching out to you guys and saying like, this is what we got. This is all the Legos that we have, and we sort of like put them together like this. It sort of makes sense. Now we want to get your minds working. What do you think? Like high and low. Like, does it suck? Is it good? Is it great? Is it the best? And then when we sort of have that, we have. Sorry, I forgot the step here. We need to write the light paper also. So Jack and Leo is probably gonna write that. Leo is amazing, guys. He's the shadowy super core behind the scenes. Gets like no credit, but he's the guy making this all possible with the code. And then we write the code, and then we do a testnet, of course, so we can try it out and play with it and try to destroy stuff. 25% unicorns minted. Like it's listen, people say that some people had this expectation that we're going to sell out not sell out, but they're going to be minted right away. We enabled the technology. The launch was amazing. It's there right now for people who want it. It's a marketing machine for the people who want that scarcity, and it's working. We burned like, even though the supply has inflated, we currently have what is it? 8% of the supply is burned. So the yin yang is working just with one protocol for one week. Like for me, it's a huge success, to be honest. And the more people realize that, okay, this is an ecosystem that's growing. I'm the kind of person, everyone's different. Me personally, I like the scarcity part of stuff. It appeals to me. Others like other kinds of like limited supply token, what we're going to talk about today. That applies to other people more. Yeah, anyway, we're going to do it on testnet, and then we're going to do an audit, of course, third party, and then we're going to launch. And then we're going to have a party as well. So that's how we do stuff. And we're only at the first step right now, guys. So it's very early on in this design space. We want to get this high mind working. So again, we're soon. Someone asking here, are you looking to integrate other send chains into Nex and Phoenix, such as MXN? Yes, we go everywhere, guys. So just to answer that, the reason why we figured out that probably the best, because we want to make stakeable and NFTs as well. So we're going to do that first and make that super awesome. And then we have that package with Zen Torrent and stakeable NFTs, and then deploy that package on all the other chains. So like parallel to what we're talking about here, a lot of things are going in parallel. Like the code for the NFTs is the Zen Torrent is being reused because it's the same code. So we don't need to audit it. It's the same code. We're just adding one number, a rarity score as well, which is interesting in itself to that. And then we deploy that package on all the other chains. So anyway, moving on. So before, like, and this is how I want you guys to think. Like, before you even look at tokenomics, before you even like look at like incentives and yield going here and there, we need to understand the fundamentals of how systems are built, because it's not about getting the yield. It's about getting the yield and keeping it. So we don't want to make something where people are going to get burned over time. So what we talked about last time was these first principles and features of Zen, right? So before we go in to the tokenomics of stuff, let's just do like this. We have a framework here that sort of more makes more or less sense, okay? And we just do it like this. How do you spell Zen? Nex. There we go. It could be prettier, but it works. So if we compare now Zen with Nex, like let's just analyze how it fits in. Like, do we check these boxes? So is it immutable? Yes, the code's going to be immutable, and once we deploy it, we're not going to be able to change it. We're not going to have any admin keys as well. We're going to do a third-party audit, so we can check that. Self-custody, 100%. That's the only way we do things. We wanna create value and let people have control over it themselves. Permissionless, hell yeah. Can people interact with the protocol anytime, anywhere? Can anyone do it anytime, anywhere? Yes. Decentralization. Is it going to be decentralized? Yes. Probably not as decentralized as Zen, obviously, but pretty sure it's going to be very, very decentralized. No counterparty risk as well, of course. Pre-mine. No pre-mine. The supply is going to start at 0 as well with this. Free. Is it going to be free? To be fair, it's probably not going to be defined as free, to be honest, in the way that you need to have Zen in order to, and Zen you can get for free plus gas. You don't pay anything to the protocol to get Zen. You're paying 2 transaction fees, right, in the proof of participation protocol. With Nex, you have to, the only way to get it is to burn Zen or stakeables NFTs. So I don't think we can define it as free. It's going to be transparent, however, of course. Everything is going to be on chain. Censorship resistance, let's look at that. Well, since we're deploying on many different chains, it's very likely that it's going to be censorship resistance. And this is important to think about in the design work right away. Like with Zen, it's easy now, but we live in this world now where it's this threat of being censored here and there. So we need to think about how we're designing stuff so it can't be censored. Is the supply going to be disinflationary? Is it going to be harder to mint with time? Yes. Is there going to be delayed gratification? Yes. Is it open source? Of course. Are you going to be able to transact peer-to-peer? Yes. Will there be a burn function in the protocol? Maybe. So let's maybe stake function for sure, because it's based on it's a core part of this thing. So let's put this here right now. It's not 100% worked out. So we can see now, like before we start analyzing like the protocol in itself, it's like, okay, I want to hear more. Like because if it doesn't live up to these principles, then what's the point of like even analyzing it? So when you're analyzing new protocols, and when you or like new or existing protocols, like understand the value and the value system that you're interacting with. Doesn't even go for like, it's not limited to economic energy in the form of different tokens, also the platform that you're interacting with. Like what kind of platform is it? Like it's a good framework to use, because I think a lot of times we are not analyzing stuff in this way. So yeah. Like if the logo is cool or not, it doesn't matter. It's just like it has no. It's just an illusion. Okay, Jack made the Zen logo protocol in like 5 minutes. Okay, 250 million transactions later, it's worked. Okay, it's not going to be something that stops anyone from interacting with them. I even proposed, like, hey, let's maybe hire like a logo designer or something. We give him 1,500. He's like, no, it does, yeah, don't need it. No, okay, yeah. I love it. So another good thing with Jax, just like removes all the unnecessary stuff. So also, like, I think to mention, these are not like binary black and white. Okay, it's sometimes it's judgment calls. It's like decentralization. There's nothing saying that something has to be 100% decentralized. Like, what is that anyway? It has to be decentralized enough in order for not having a few actors being able to influence their control in a way. So it's like it's the same with admin keys, for instance. It's also sometimes not a binary thing. There are many protocols in DeFi that have admin keys for certain tasks because it's like guardians, for instance. In that case, you have an admin key for someone to be able to stop deposits but never withdrawals. So it still lives up to self-custody and your coins, your crypto, and all of that. But in the case a protocol gets hacked, you might want to stop new people from coming in to be exploited if you know there's a hack, for instance. But if we can make it with no admin keys, and if we can live up to all of this, like there needs to be a reason for like a good reason for you to give up any of these values, any of these principles in the beginning. So, so the note there is that just don't look at the words, like understand to what level is it decentralized, like to what extent is it transparent, and is it really permissionless, and if you can't enter Zen.network, then what do you do then, etc., etc. So if we can make and with that's what we're trying to make. We're trying to make it like as decentralized as possible and no admin keys and live up to all this stuff, of course. What else? Yeah, like also just emphasize. Oh no, now it's how. Sorry, guys. When did I lose you? Can you hear me now? I don't know how that happened. Put on my big boy microphone. You can hear me now. So 3 minutes? God damn it. Fucking hell. And you can't read lips either. You need first. Okay. God damn it. Okay, I was just talking about these first principles. 5 minutes? Okay, sorry guys. I'm gonna look at the I don't know how it happened. Okay. I just talked about these when you're analyzing 3.14 minutes. Okay. Sorry guys. So stupid. Start over from the beginning. Okay. Welcome, Senians. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try to recap. When you're building with first principles, make sure that you are when you're analyzing protocols, make sure that you are looking at all this stuff. It's not about principles first, then look at the tokenomics. And this is why I think I talked a little bit about Joe Blau and Phoenix, because that's the like when I heard he's making a protocol, that's when the first thing I did was to make sure that these principles were thought about, that he has them in the foundation, and he like checks every box on that. So that's why I'm super excited about Phoenix. Yeah. And just the fact that we've seen so many things fail in crypto. So it's not about only getting the yield, it's about keeping the yield. It's about building something that's not going to fail, that has a solid foundation. So yeah. Skip first principles. Okay. All right. Anyway. Let's talk about the NEXonomics. Let's go straight into NEXonomics. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to look at so here's the thing. When I like Jack released this, and I can see a lot of confusion already, and that confusion is good in a way, but you sort of need to understand, like you shouldn't be afraid of it, because it's not that complicated as it looks like. Like schematic, if you look at the schematic for like whatever a Tesla car, it's gonna be like super confusing, but you can still get in the car. You can open the door, sit down, turn the key. Maybe you don't turn the key in a Tesla, and just drive. Like with a cell phone, the schematic of a cell phone is insane, but you can still like send a meme with SPF eating a cucumber or something to someone, super easy. So like schematic of a toaster, you can't fail. You just take a bread, put it in, push the lever down, and it's the schematics can look complicated, but it's really not. So you can. I have failed with a toaster once. You shouldn't put like metal in the. That's another story. So the schematics is not so like it's. Here's the thing, from a user perspective, this is under the hood what goes on, but a user don't need to understand this. The user experience is basically this. Okay, so it's like you burn them, you claim your NEX through the allocation, and then you stake it. That's like basically how easy it is. So don't let this confuse you. But now we're going to confuse you. Now we're gonna understand how all of this works. So foreplay is over now, guys. Now let's so what we're looking at here is basically I'm gonna zoom in. How's that? That's better. What we're looking at here is basically 4 different parts. So the first part is the supply distribution. That's what goes on here. The second part is the claim process, the competition. Okay, this is where you enter the drew. This is where you start playing with the Senians to get the allocation that you want. The third thing is the staking, the staking mechanics, so to speak. So that's that part. And the fourth part is the reflection yield streams, like where does the yield come from? So let's start up here with the supply distribution, first of all. Yeah. So what we have, right? We have a total supply of 100 million NEX, and the supply is distributed over 5 years. Okay, so what's happening here? 20% of the supply goes here to some claimable bonus stuff. Let's leave this for now and get back to that at the end, what that is. Let's focus on this first, the 80%. So the supply is going to start at 0, and then it's distributed in daily rounds. So in 5 years, there's 1,825 days, right? So every day there is a new round, and each day a portion of this is being distributed. So and like the first day it distributes most, and then day 2 it declines a little bit. So and this is what we mean with like the inverse exponential distribution. So it's going to be like less every day. By the way, all of this is just rough numbers. They don't make sense. Like they need to be crunched. But let's talk a little bit about the supply curves. So what is like inverse exponential? What does that mean? So we know what an exponential curve looks like. Okay, it looks something like this. Okay, it starts here, and then the rate increases. A logarithmic function, this you know very well, because it's in the Zen minting formula. So you can see that the inflation is like super high, and then it tapers off. So that's a exponential function, and this is a logarithmic function, just so we know what we're talking about. And here we can see again this exponential function, right? But here in the green, this is an inverse exponential function. So it's just like mirrored. So that's what we mean. So the supply, it's sort of like the Bitcoin mining. It's like you could get a lot at first, and then it gets harder and harder with time. It's the same concept here. So here we can see the inflation for Bitcoin, for instance, and how the reverse is, of course, then the supply of Bitcoin. So we're experimenting right now with like various different like functions, how to distribute these the supply over time, what makes more sense. So this is sort of like the latest iteration, where you have that the supply it's not straight, it's exponential, but then there's also, just like in the Zen formula, there's an amplifier at the beginning to incentivize early adoption. And of course, by time, here we reach the 100 million, if that makes sense. So in inverse exponential, somehow, like this is being worked out. But what you need to know now is like we have this 100 million, and then each day there is a round. So each day there is a part of this NEX that's distributed for something. And what is that something? That's what we're going to talk about now. So this is the part where the user comes in and participates in the process. So you have Scenion 1 and Scenion 2. Every day you are competing for the allocation of this NEX. So day 1, you're going to compete for 10,000 NEX. Round 2, day 2, you're going to compete for NEX as well, but it's going to be a little bit less. So you're competing, which means that you're allocating, you're burning basically, or allocating. We're going to go through that later, exactly what we mean with it. However much Zen that you're willing to. And in this case, Scenion 1 burned or allocated 1 billion, and Scenion 2, 2 billion. So in total, that's 3 billion. So out of this 3 billion, 2 billion is 67% of the total, and the 1 billion is 33%, right? So if this is the end result of that day, then the distribution of this NEX is going to be 3,300 versus 6,700. Okay, so that's how that works. And this is like the user experience. Remember, we want to incentivize the behavior of burning as much Zen as possible, because that's going to reward you as much NEX as possible. And this can be done like in a fun way. It's a game. So, some kind of burn leaderboard. And it starts like, when should it start every day? So like I proposed to Jack that like what time of day do you start this round to like initiate it, because that's going to be the same time every day going forward. So I proposed we take this globe, and I spin it, and then he says stop, and then we do like best of 3 or something. So that's anyway. The point here is that you're competing every day for an allocation, and the one who burns the most gets the most allocation. So we will do some kind of like burn leaderboard, or CryptoCell might do something very cool, or some of the other cool devs as well. Anyway, so that's the distribution part, right? Which comes through the allocation every day and the burning. So here's the thing. After that day, then you get your NEX. Sorry, I'm going to switch to this, makes more sense. You get your NEX here. So I'm senior number 1, and I get this next. Now, what happens is that you get a choice, okay? And the choice is if you want to... the choice is basically you have your NEX, and either you stake it or you don't. So senior number 1 stakes it for... So these are the 2 extreme cases. Senior number 1 stakes it for 10 years. So there's no penalty because he did a max stake term. Senior number 2, he staked for 0 days. He wants his money right away. So he gets a penalty of 30%. It's like it's like the protocol here is saying like, hey, you wanna stake your NEX? And then you're like, no. And then the protocol is like, okay, well, fuck you then. And I'm going to give you a penalty. So I'm going to take 30%. It's like a divorce. So it should be 50% for that reason. So we can we get 50%. But that's sort of how you look at it. You get penalized for not being a good sport and staking. Speaking of like 50%, we could have made it like that the of this like penalty from unstaking, that like 50% of this then goes to some like Jack's address or something. But we're like, no, F that. Let's give it all to stakers. So no unnecessary uncertainties, please. So that's how it works. So since senior number 1 is staking 100%, and this does not, senior number 2 doesn't stake anything at all. Senior number 1 is eligible to claim the yield. So that's how it works. Now, and so what we covered so far is the distribution, how to participate in the rounds, and then the staking. And now let's talk about the yield streams, because the yield has to come from somewhere. So where does the yield come from? And then we have 3 different yield streams, which is pretty cool. So there's 3 different like streams of where the yield can come from. Let me make this bigger for you guys. Yeah, I can be here. Right, so there's 3 different streams. First, we generate a yield from this participation. So out of this, that's why I mean it doesn't get burned right away. You see, out of this 3 billion, it gets to this it follows this distribution right here. So of this 3 billion, 70% gets burned, and then 30% of that goes to the yield pool, so to speak. And the yield pool is where all of these different yield streams are being accumulated. So the yield, we're taking advantage of the fact that we have this honeypot here, basically, that we can use for the yield. So that's the yield stream number 1. The yield stream number 2 we already talked about. It's the unstaking penalties. So of course, these are the extreme cases. So you can stake for either 10 years or 0 days. And the penalty, if you do something in between, the penalty is going to be probably something in between or something like that. So you're getting this in the form of Zen and this in the form of NEX. And then we have a third, which is the volume. So NEX is going to be traded, right, on the market. And this is like a common reflection yield stream. So every time the token is traded, there's a tax added to that transaction. Of in our first use case here, it's 0.2%. So if there's a daily volume of 10 million, that's going to generate 20,000 NEX. So that's how that works. Like usually, we looked at a lot of other protocols who've done reflection. Usually, a very common thing to do with a reflection token is that you're putting a very high tax. Let's say you're putting like 10% or something like that, which of course disincentivizes liquidity. So we basically don't want that. And we think it's better to make it tradable, more liquid, but at the same time, we have this tax there. It's not final what it's going to be, of course. It's something, the numbers need to be crunched. But the other thing that we also have seen is that out of this, all of these fees goes to the yield pool, like all of it. And what we've seen before is that some of these fees goes to something else, like some founder or team or whatever, which makes it very like unstable, because you're like allocating a lot of capital in something that can control the network. So like if you're putting 50% of all the reflection transaction taxes, and that's also all the yield stream that you have, then that's very bad design. So we have here 3 independent reflection yield streams. So this is like homework number 1. Like the think about all of this and what you are thinking about them, and how if you think they make sense, if you think one of them should be removed for whatever reason, if you can think of another yield stream as well somehow. Like there's no limits to your creativity here. But anyway, all of these yield streams are accumulating in something we call a yield pool. So of course we get, what do we get in here? We get NEX, and we get NEX, and we get Zen. So we have 2 different currencies, and all of this, like point number 1, all of this then goes to the stakers. Side note here, if you really want to degen, is like there's 2 points here. Like either it's being paid out in NEX, or it's being paid out in Zen and NEX. Like you as a staker could get 2 different yields. Like if you think about it, it probably would make more sense to pay it out in Zen as well, for 2 reasons. If we don't, it creates through this conversion downward pressure on the Zen price, and I don't think we need it more than we have right now. And the other point is that if you imagine yourself being a staker, then what happens if you get if you earn that yield in Zen, you probably use it to compete more. So it creates this like positive loop. But anyway, that's a detail. So point here is we have 3 different yield streams, and it comes into this yield pool, and then it gets distributed up here to the stakers as yield. So in our case, Simeon number 1, good boy, he gets 100% of the yield here. So that's like a very, very rough, very broad schematic of how it all works. And what else? Yeah, so it's basically not more complicated than that. It looks very complicated initially, but it's not. You have the 4 different parts. You have the supply distribution, you have the competition daily, you have the staking decision, like are you going to stake or not, and where does the yield come from? And then let's talk about what goes on here. 20% of the supply will go to claimable bonus mints. So 50% of that will go to monthly highest burners. This is something very fun. Good boy, Sinian. I'm sorry, guy. I will please save your questions for after. Just to finish off the scope. So you have monthly highest burners. So imagine this. What happens here? You have daily competitions. So imagine yourself being a user here. What happens? You go in and you compete every day, and you don't know, right? Like the game theory here is very exciting, because let's say you and I are the only participants here. If you just like allocate 1 Zen and I allocate 10 Zen, that's it. There's no like buyers in fee here or something, no like minimal limit. Then that's it. I'm gonna get like 91% of the supply, because it's of that round that day. I just allocated 10. So I don't know what you are going to or when you're going to allocate for this competition. So it creates sort of this like super exciting game. So we're competing every day. There's a new game every day that goes on. But to make it even more interesting, we are having a dedicated pot here of this monthly higher burners. So if you are, it incentivizes you to compete more than 1 day. Because if I am in the top 100 monthly burners, then I also get like a bonus, which is going to be desirable. So that how that works. And then we have here for the SNFTs. We have said that we are going to, like a team or anyone else dev in the ecosystem are going to create utilities for these NFTs, and this is one way of doing it. So with the Apex holders, 10% will be allocated there through the process of how much they have been burning, basically. So this increases the incentives to mint NFTs, which then will increase the burn, which is good for everyone. And then when they are minted, it raises the floor for all of them. So the allocation of this could also be vested exponentially. So in order for you as an Apex holder to achieve this, you would have to, for instance, it could be like you would have a claimable right as an Apex holder for this, but the vesting of them would increase exponentially. So that means that you could claim your part here and get some, but you could also claim it here. So at the end of this 5 years, then you would be able to claim most of it, which is interesting, because what that does, it increases the incentive for you to hold your NFT for a long time. Like the segment that will go for something rare, that think that's a desirable, they are usually the holders that want to hold it for a long time anyway. So it increases the incentives for the mint, but it also increases it gives an incentive for holding them long. And two things there: since they've been burned, since you have to burn for them, it benefits everyone. And the fact that you're incentivized to also hold them for long increases the floor for everybody. You have to realize, like, there's a reason why the floor of the apes was 70 ETH in a bear market, which is pretty cool. Because if you have one of the apes, you don't want to, you're not incentivized to sell them, because they're constantly coming up with new utilities for them. So you sort of like constant. You can't sell them because you're probably going to miss out what's coming next. So we want to use that to everyone's advantage, basically. So yeah. So the question is, that type of segment, that type of user who are already valuing rarity and storing their value into something very rare, like that is attracted to a store of value in the first place. Like, what would incentivize them to hold that as long as possible? Because if you think about it, like the more rare these NFTs are, and they're like verifiably scarce diamonds, but in order for you to get a diamond in the first place, you have to do something good for the community, like which you're doing through burning. So it's just a suggestion, but there's some other ideas where this could be done like differently. But share your thoughts, what you think about that. So here's the thing: when you're designing protocols like this, what we try to do is, like, first of all, make sure that it lives up to the first principles. Like, no matter what we do on top of that, the base need to be there. The second is that what we've done here is we just put all the Legos down on a piece of paper that we want to play with, that like makes sense, that we want to have there. We need some kind. This is one Lego piece. We need some kind of distribution. We need some kind of competition, some ways to participate. We need some incentives to hold the token that makes sense. We need some kind of yield, and it needs to come from somewhere. It needs to make sense. So all we've done at this stage, we're very early with this, guys, is put all of these pieces together and start like combining, like how would this like world make sense in a way that the incentives are also aligned throughout the whole system. Also in a way that lives up to fairness as much as possible. So there is like a formula for getting this stuff works, but the first step is to put all of them, like, here we have it. How do we play with it? How do we work around? How do we make sure that it makes sense and sustainable in time to make it as valuable as possible? So when you're seeing this, like, this is a very first V1 of the design. So all of these like numbers, like all of it, the allocations, the rounds, the years, this distribution, this is just shot from the hip. Like, first, like, what would make sense? Yeah, let's put in a number. So it's an iterative process. Like, we're crunching these numbers right away to see that, okay, this doesn't make sense at all. Like, first we had like it should decline 10% every day. Of course, it doesn't make sense. So like with each iteration that's done in parallel, the whole thing becomes like a sustainable protocol. So don't focus so much on this. Also, disclaimer, like, we're inviting you now to the design of the protocol because we want to use the high mind. We want everybody to think and learn. But don't make any like, be careful to make any like investment decisions of yourself. Like, this makes a lot of sense, but it's not like 100% that it's going to be there. Nothing is 100% at this point. So you do you with your investments. Our ambition is to make a protocol as good as possible, and we want it to make sense in a way that fits into the broader scope of Zen's mission, aligned with making this protocol as good as possible. So be very careful with the numbers here and there, so you don't make any foregone conclusions. But like, I'm very excited, and we were very excited to have something like this. Like, Jack's brain is like working constantly and he's sitting right here right now probably, and just crunching these supply curves and just finding like optimal stuff and listening to everyone's feedback, and then we're sort of taking all of that and compiling it and iterating it. So like I'm personally very excited about this model because I think it makes a lot of sense to have a limited supply token with an engaging dynamic in it, with long-term delayed gratification incentives and a yield that makes sense, that everybody understands. That's just my first, there's something here, okay, that for sure, that this product, a product like this based on first principles, is needed. So we just have to collectively like crunch the numbers and the mechanics to make sure that it doesn't work. We have to look at other protocols that that's failed and analyze why did they fail, and we have to think creatively for new solutions that nobody thought about as well. So it's basically like, if I'm being really harsh, it's like Zen is like what Bitcoin intended to be, and Nex is what Bitcoin is, very roughly speaking, but multi-chain. So don't quote me on that, or do it, I don't care. That's pretty much Jack Levin. Wait, let's get Jack in here. Jack, can you come in here? I'll send you the link if you're up for it. I'll send you the StreamYard link in Telegram. Come in, bro. Come in, bro. That's it, guys, for the like V1 of the schematics. Love it, hate it, abuse it, do whatever you want with it, attack it, FUD the shit out of it, because before it becomes immutable, it should be battle tested as much as possible. So we want to make as robust protocol as possible. As we said, we had huge like value of the community with Zen protocol. So it's because people really like tore it apart, and we're very happy for it today. And what else? Before we take some questions, yeah, like guys, think critical. Like this is like what kind of product do you want? Like what would excite you? What would you interact with? That's very interesting, and I'm very like oh yeah, this Joseph made this. I think he made it. He posted it anyway. Next, supply 100 million, distribution 5 years, daily competition, burn Zen get Nex, stake Nex get yield, Apex NFT holders, top 100 burners monthly. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, Jack. All right. So what I'm excited about, just a closing thought. Like what I'm excited about is that we're doing this together. We're involving you guys. It's an interesting product. I don't know if it's been done this way, and there's a lot of incentives. It's built on first principles, of course. So in the grand scheme of things, it's an addition to all of this DeFi ecosystem that's going to be very interesting, and how it like fits in together with everything else. So we're making these staking NFTs, for instance. You can use them probably in order to use for burn allocation in the next reflection, etc., and all of this. So how we integrate all of these things together. And then we have Phoenix protocol, which has another, it's not limited supply, it has an inflation rate of 3.14%, for instance. So that's another thing that's very interesting. I hope we can have a AMA with them tomorrow on Twitter. So Yeah. All right. Yes. Okay, guys, let's see here. Shoot your questions. Jack, stop flooding the channel. Get in here if you want to talk. was this all clear? You should, okay. Oh yeah, I can do this. You should spell next with E written backwards to show reflection. That's a pretty cool idea. Send maximalist. What that look like? Oh, how do I do that? Okay, I did this. And I gotta spin this around. Probably a very long way to do it. That's how it would look like, guys. Bam. First day and the rest of my life. Next. Nexon. Yeah. Here we have Jack Dawson. How you doing, baby? Oh, hello, Jack.
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you, man.
You too. Are you making trouble?
Always.
You're getting people too excited as usual.
Yeah. What did you think of the schematics?
I was good. I love your diagrams. Yeah. So I only have like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes before I have to take off. But I saw your message, so I decided to hop in.
Amazing. So let's answer Jack Dawson's questions right here. Will we be able to burn collectors NFTs instead of Zen? This way we get future claims down as well.
Yeah, I think that's actually is the plan. So collectors NFTs as well as the staking NFTs should compete for burn and for Nex. So it's a good idea. It's a good idea to burn future mints too.
Right, exactly, because it's economic energy that has not been minted yet, but it will be minted. But why not like burn that future? Future baby. It's like you're having an abortion.
That's awesome.
Let's see here. Fiat BTC Chuck Norris said. I love that. Shoot your questions, guys. Grill us. Tear us apart. Jack also made .enx instead of .ens. When you think?
Yeah, I don't think that's possible. Remember, we did the research on how much it costs to actually get your application in to get the domain name registered or the extension for the domain name. I don't think it's feasible. So I think .io is fine, and there's plenty of other things, .co, .xyz. There's plenty to go around.
What about staking for 1 month? Do I get a penalty? Yes. The penalty, unless you're staking for like the full 10 years, it's going to be 10 years or lower. But if you're staking for 1 month, you're sort of in between here. So you're going to get a penalty and only yield for that month, of course.
Yeah, I think the whole idea with the penalties is that we want people to get the maximum reflection yield, and you only get the maximum reflection yield is when you stake the longest, right? So if you're on stake, that's you have to pay a little bit of a penalty to the existing pool of stakers that continue to stake. So it's not dissimilar to Hex, where Hex has severe penalties because first of all, with hacks, if we compare it, you have to buy it first, and then if you stake it for a year but decide to unstake it the next day, you lose all of your principal too. So I think this is a little bit safer because, well, you're coming in with Zen, so you have to acquire Zen somehow first. But with Zen, you mint it very inexpensively, and then you burn it to compete. And once you've done your competition, you should feel good that you competed and you won a lot of necks in your round. Then staking is like a cherry on top. You're staking it, you're making your reflection yield, and then of course, if you decide to unstake, then you pay a portion of that to the stakers. So that's the 30%. But 30% is like day one penalty. So it's going to be gradually reduced over time. And we haven't really come up with the time range yet and the formula how it's going to be reduced. So potentially it will be reduced a little bit the first couple of years, and then it will be reduced dramatically as you approach the stake maturity, which kind of makes sense.
Right. You could make it so that Apex must be locked for a minimum term where it disables the mintable Zen from their C ranks from being claimed to get the next bonus.
So I don't think we're not really planning to lock Apex NFTs at all, but we did talk about needing to quote unquote register. So if you hold your NFT in the wallet and your wallet has an address, you come to the web app, you click register, and that's where the time of getting the yield starts. And we're talking about the Apex allocation distribution. So Zensu, if you scroll a little bit higher to the right, we're talking about this one. So zoom in on this real quick. So in here, the Apex holders, they're getting 10% of the total cap. So yeah. And this 10%, you need to obviously register your ownership to receive it. If you don't register, then your allocation will be given to people who are registering. So like, let's say that you don't know anything about this and you're coming in a year later. Now, unfortunately, your allocation that belongs to you will have to be given to someone else because you haven't done anything. You did not participate. You did not execute the proof of participation transaction. So, but if you register, then it doesn't matter when you're claiming your next. You could claim the next day. It will be a little bit, or you can claim in a month, maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years. It will continuously be allocating to you because you have registered your wallet address. Now, let's say that you have registered, but then you sold your Apex NFT. So what happens then? Well, if you don't hold the Apex, you cannot claim anything. Whether you registered or not, it doesn't matter. The new person have to re-register, and they will probably inherit all of your mints because it's already been allocated to that particular NFT. So if somebody else is coming in with the new address, then they inherit your next allocation, which actually makes the NFT more valuable on OpenSea. Because imagine right now, it's just the future Zen mint, and then it's the amount of Zen burned, but it will have this third thing, which is the yield from the allocation.
It will make them like very valuable with time. So what you're saying is that the whole yield for a whole period follows these NFTs. So I can't claim a little bit here and then sell it to someone who then will be able to claim here for this period. There's two ways.
Right. I mean, if an NFT holder claims anything before they sell it, then there's nothing to claim for the new user. But the new user holding the NFT, if they bought it from you, they'll have to register their address to start getting the Apex mints.
Right, proof of participation.
Yeah, you have to interact with the contract to actually claim your allocation.
Can you give an example of how much someone might allocate to claiming a competition that's more realistic than the good presentation numbers, please? I would say that totally depends. Like, that's totally up to the market. Like, it might be only be me and Jack here, or there might be 10,000. What would you say?
Well, I would say we're definitely going to be posting a daily dashboard that will show how much you need to burn to compete with the people and what your allocation will be. And so the more people are playing, the bigger the burn, the better it is for Zen holders because the supply is going to be reduced. But then it also, the dashboard gives you an idea, okay, should you come with 1 Zen, 1,000 Zen, 1,000,000 Zen, or 1,000,000,000 Zen? So it depends on the number of people playing and how much Zen they're playing with. You will be given intelligence or information to act on. Because if everybody's putting 10 billion in and you only have 1 million Zen, then you're going to get very, very, very low amount of shares. And it may be worth it or not. But it really depends.
That's what makes it fun as well, because some people might snipe in the last second and just put in to get an allocation. So it sort of makes you counteract that in your position, right?
Well, that is true. That is why people who are coming in early, like in the beginning of the day, if they're choosing to participate early, they're exposing their hand. It's like in poker, they're showing one of their cards. Now, if they're holding an ace and they're exposing an ace, well, that's equivalent of, let's say, 10 billion Zen. Would you imagine people playing against them? Well, probably, but would you want to actually give up your ace on the first round? Maybe not. You want to put in the minimum amount of Zen to win the most. You're not gonna be moving with your ace immediately, right? You want to see the dashboard to have all the people in, all the players in, and then if you have an ace or a king or a queen or
a sensei
or a jack, then you're gonna play with your jack and not with your ace, because everybody's playing with 10s and 8s and 9s, right? So why would you waste your Zen if you're winning the round anyway? And when we say winning the round, it doesn't mean you're taking the whole thing. You're just taking proportionally fair amount.
It's kind of like interesting with the gas here as well, right? Because if everyone's waiting for the last minute, then the gas spike might be high, so it might not be worth it for that.
But it's not gas intensive, this whole thing. This whole thing is going to be minimum gas because there's no computation that's really hard. There's no data structures that need to be saved on Ethereum. So it's going to be like maybe $1, maybe $2, maybe $3 at most per entry in gas.
This one is good. Is the yield paid monthly, daily, or do I collect? Like, how? Okay, we're getting some yield here. When can I get my money?
Yeah, I think we haven't decided yet, and we're gonna solicit community's feedback on that. There's really no reason not to collect it daily if you wanted to. One of the reasons to do that, to collect it daily, is to reduce the sell pressure if there is a sell pressure. So we don't want, for example, it to be monthly where everybody is getting it and then half of the people decide to sell. I mean, we have to kind of like find an even ground there.
Right.
So maybe daily is fine because we kind of want to have liquidity anyway. Like we actually do want people to sell because we want the market to be created. We don't want the market to be shocked every month.
The supply here is like very different. Like the time horizons, it's very different. If we look at the supply here, this is of course a very early projection. But if this is times 0 and half time, we would have just a rough estimate like 70-80% of the whole supply.
Well, it's probably, well, the total supply is the top, the end of the line, right? So what's happening in the middle is that's probably 60%. So halftime is about 60%.
Right.
However, the first, let's say, 100 days, you see the very, very steep rise in supply, which means that their emissions are they're much more intense. So you like right there, the first 50 days, you're gonna have maybe 3 times more than you would 300 days later.
Right.
So, but then it kind of evens out. So we want people to be rewarded to get in early, but we don't want the supply to rise too dramatically, because it will um, stimulate people creating the Uniswap pairs that have too much next. So we want it to be rare enough, but not too rare. So it needs to be very balanced.
Why do the Sunicorns get the lowest allocation for the bonus? Because if you look at this chart, the Sunicorns are burning in total 1 trillion, but they're only 100. So out of total.
Yeah. Let's look at the total number of Zunicorns. There's only 100.
Yeah.
So which means that the supply per capita per NFT is actually much greater. Is that true? So like this 6% is from the 10. It's from the 10 million NEX, right? But there's only 100 people that are getting the 6%. So if you compare 100 people to the next line, which is 1,000, right? So 1,000 gets, they have more people, and do they get less per person or more per person? So it's times 10. Yeah, absolutely, they are, because if you look 29 to 6, it's like difference is 5x, but the number of people is 10x.
Because they burned more. So
yeah. So whoever burns most gets more, obviously, but also there's only 100 of them.
And this is, but everyone has 1 or 2 or 3 billion. How are we going to solve this for people that have millions? So the incentives here is because it's been burned. So it incentivizes people to go for the apex, and in doing so, they're burning Zen, which makes it better for everyone.
Yeah, but also people with the millions, they get to play on the left side of the diagram. They get to play for the distribution. So right here, things are fair. You're playing against the participants now. Like this is actually very interesting, because again, going back to the poker analogy, you do not play with your ace on your first hand. Even if you have billions, if you're getting, let's say, 10% of the round with just 10 million, then it's definitely great game mechanics. You don't have to waste your billions just to win one round. You can play all the rounds every day with just millions. So the market will discover exactly who is willing to play with what, and the smart people will quickly realize that putting as much as they can in everything they have is not smart.
Right. It's a fun game. Because it's involved in so I've been to Las Vegas 3 times and never gambled once. I really don't understand like gambling. It's something I don't like. But this is competition I like, and that's we're using something here where people can compete in a way that's ultimately going to it's benefiting the whole community. That positive competition.
Yeah, it's definitely positive. I mean, like think about it, how Zen is designed. So we're not forcing people to claim Zen in 2 or 3 days. Their terms could be very, very long, up to 440 days right now. But we're not forcing anybody to do anything. So people are deciding to do what they want to do.
How do you think of the fact that with Zen, this is an interesting dynamic. We're like the formula dictates that the longer, since it's multiplied by time, the longer you choose your midterm, the more reward you will get. But now you have other incentives, because now you have all of this other DeFi stuff goes on. So what would make sense in terms of making, like, people have to value, like, do I want, but it's the same as in real life, do you want to have cash, or you want to have diamonds, or you want to have some other form of scarce token? So people sort of have to make up, how am I going to distribute? How am I going to do my mints now in the short to long term to participate in all these new protocols that's coming? And
yeah, this is interesting. So Zen is like cash on hand, but a Zunicorn is like a Rolex or like a Lambo. I mean, well, Lambo is not a good analogy because it actually may or may not go up in price, but Rolexes generally always go up in price.
Yeah, they're producing like huge amounts. Like, is it 1 million Rolexes per year or something, just to just to satisfy that demand?
Okay, I have to run. Take over for me. Thank you for doing this. I'll see you
Thank
soon.
Thanks for joining. All the best.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, so nice to get rid of him, guys. I'm kidding, of course. So Jack Dawson, can we buy Nex from market, then stake it and get part of the yield by locking up? Let's go to the schematics. So yes, because it's a two-step process, right? So you get your allocations there, and then they are there in your wallet. So you can just they're there, and I think this is how it's going to work. They're there, but if you want to mint them, if you want to claim that mint, then comes the penalty. So you can also buy Nex from the market and then stake it for the yield. I'm 99.2% minus 5% sure about that. Crypto Profita, it would be nice if we can extract the Zen from our mint contract and buy the ZenFT. Can it be possible? So so from the mint contract, you mean the Zen that's assuming you mean the Zen that's being currently minted. So that is the innovation with the ZenFT, right? So you are making that tradable right away. So Player One Taco, GM, good to see you, Player One Taco. Long time. It's a funny guy. Good to see you. Long time. The Rolex top is in, guys. The Rolex top is in. Don't buy Rolex. Get a Unicorn. Will you co-develop with CoinTools a contract to burn the mints with the tool they created? Did they create a new tool or something? That I don't know. I think Jack talked about making an alternate UI for the CoinTools contract in the case that the CoinTools website will go down. But I'm not sure. We have Mason. Good to see you, buddy. Mason in the house. Where's Vanilla Cranka? We need a Vanilla Cranka version of the NEXonomics. Is there a way to stop people from pooling together, or it doesn't matter? That's a very good question. I guess it doesn't matter because if you pool together, then you're gonna have to share it as well. But that's actually a very good question. I'm gonna actually start that and iterate that. Thanks for that. Banging name. All right, I'm gonna check it out. Player One Taco. Let's see if there's more questions, guys. I don't even know how many it is watching. Good to see so many people. I think this will be very interesting. I think this will be a very interesting protocol. I'm like super excited to make this happen. Here we have. Can we top off burnings and hourly burn more if we see ourselves falling off the burn leaderboard? Yes. Yes. You exactly. You can put in a billion like a high roller Sinian, and then you're the only one, and then Sinian number 2 here comes in and like puts in 2 billion. So then you can of course put in more after that, just like any kind of poker or whatever. I don't know how poker really works. Please explain next transaction fees. Hey, CGR, good to see you, buddy. So yeah, so this is like when the NEX is being traded, there's a tax added to that transaction. So every time you're trading it, and this is why I think it's more beneficial to keep it low, to incentivize trading more. So it's so low that you don't really care about it. Like it's not going to be, if it's 10%, like if this would be 10%, like many the reflection tokens are doing, then that really disincentivizes you to trade it and to buy it as well. Because if you're buying it, you have to realize that you're going to sell it at some point. So it's gonna like tax you at the end somehow. So, and this fee, like when you're transferring in, it's probably, I thought initially it would be like an addition added in the contract to the ETH or to the gas token, but I think more it's going to be NEX from the NEX that you're sending. I think that makes more sense, but I'm not really 100% sure. It's something we're going to have to look at. All these new budding friendship with Xenians. We look back on these days, we found memories. We are, Seabar. It's good times. The OGs in the house. Can we use more than one rare NFT to amplify? So yeah, like if you have 2 rares, there's double the allocation, of course. And you can have multiple NFTs in one address. Pooling could be coded like Maxi Desire. It's true. Oh, we have Shelly Dawn in the house. Good to see you, buddy. The days when the Telegram group was 350. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hello, TB Bishop. Good to see you, buddy. Where can I find more info about Nex? This is it. You're at it. At it. We like if you watch this video, but if you want more info, this is basically what we have right now. So you go, guys, to the Telegram and ask your questions. And also, I want to promote the Phoenix protocol. They made their own Telegram group right now. So go also and go in there and ask some questions about it. So can I guess the next alpha move? The next alpha move, guys, is Phoenix. And so, guys, really study Phoenix and Nex. It's 2 very heavy, very cool protocols that's like making the whole Zen ecosystem just you see how the pace we're moving. It's like we are building this ecosystem full of like utility. It's just growing and growing. Imagine like very soon you're gonna have staking NFTs, so you're gonna be able to unlock your in the same thing that we did with these NFTs, that you can unlock this economic energy here and for your mint and encapsulate this into a NFT, which you can trade with. The same thing goes on with the staking function. Like the staking function is very nice in Zen protocol. It's in the base 400 lines of code. Actually, basically, Phoenix is just like 180 lines of code or something like that. Ridiculous. It's pretty cool. Very slim. But the staking function, you're staking, and as you know, you can stake for at any time from 1 to up to 1,000 days. And at any point in this mint term, you can unstake and get your whole principal back. It's your money. And it doesn't require like computation or anything. You will have to pay 2 transaction fees to stake, unstake, and you have to complete the term in order to get the APY. So it's pretty fair. But once it's staked, what we will do with the staking is NFT. So you have some Zen, you can initiate the stake, and then you will get a staking NFT, which will look similar to this. So it's recognizable, but it will have another design. And it would also have rarity score based on prime numbers. Jack's been like deep in the matrix. It's very exciting. So you can then make your stake tradable. And as you know, right now we are on 19% yield, because every 90 days the yield, it's baked into the protocol, reduces by 1. So if you stake right now, you're locking in 19% yield for up to 1,000 days. So you then can encapsulate this into an NFT. So imagine going to OpenSea or whatever, and you're buying an instrument which carries 19% yield for 1,000 days. So it's bound to happen. GRC Zanzu would be cool, of course. I love JRC. He's an amazing guy. Love his positivity. Game show your guest next week. Nice. I'll happy to come on. Let's talk some. Yeah, GRC. I know you like liquidity, so your homework is gonna be this. Be very critical. Don't moonboy this, GRC. Like let's talk about this as a participant and as a design. This is what I want all of you to think about. Like, imagine yourself being a participant in this. In what way would you participate in a way that would be very fun, and in a way where you would give up the P2P cash Zen in order to get Nex instead? How would you design this so it makes sense, so it's sustainable, so it becomes valuable, so it becomes something that you want to hold in time? How would you do the distribution? How would we're going to feed you with like stuff on different curves, etc., etc. How would you? What's your take on all of this distribution as well? The yield streams. What is? I want to talk about all of that stuff with all of you guys. I love homework. I think you're lying. Probably crypto homework is good homework. It's like school how it's supposed to be. So, Sheldon, I actually want to learn to code from all of this. Where do I start? That's a very good question. Like, where do you start to code? There's a lot of like schools online. I did what's his name? Go. Ivan on tech. He had his school, which I love Ivan. That character is like so cool. DeFi Summer 2020, for those of you guys who remember, it's amazing. I participated in some of his educations. I think they were amazing. He's a super good educator. He's really good. I learned a lot. And it's like structured in different ways. I think his new platform is called Morales or something. You have to pay for it, etc. But I did. and I'm not getting anything to say this. I don't know him, but he's Swedish, so maybe I'll run into him sometime. But that's where I learned to code a little bit there. I thought it was amazing. Play One Taco, Code Free Academy is really good. Check that out. Blue is in the house. Blue, hello, hello, hello. Hello, Sonny. Good to see you. Blue is always good. Blue is always on fire. He's Sen OG. Good times ahead, OGs. Yes. Ivan on Tech and the Daily Gway. I don't know what that means. Yeah, guys. So here we go. A big incentive for Next would be if you have a feature that burns Next and reduce supply forever, becoming rare, more. Now we're talking, baby. So this is something that we don't have here. I asked Jack what he thinks about it, and he's like, of course, we're going to have a burning function. That's why I put it here. So it's a very good question. Level up Crypto 100. Because, like, I don't think we should have a burning function in something just because. However, it could be there. Like, it's the same thing as we had with Zen. The reason we had it there in the beginning, because we need to be able to do DeFi. So you need to be able to convert some economic energy to something else without wrapping. So you need that burning function in there. And this is the reason why we can do all of this stuff. So why not take it to the next level? Like, if you can make something that's Next and it's really cool, and you want to use Next for something to convert it into something else, then yes, we should have what would be the reason not to have a burning function in there? So in that same fractal, so to speak, you're making Zen more valuable by burning Zen to get Next. Then you're making Next more valuable by burning Next to something else. So, Bitcoin doesn't have a burning function. It's like it's so Ethereum is initially, to be honest, I didn't really like that fact. It took me some time to realize the yin and yang. Like, it took me some years, actually, because I liked the fact that you had this limited supply that Bitcoin and also Cardano and some other protocol has, because we're coming from a traditional system where things are just inflating forever. However, if you're making, it's like with Zen, it can't inflate forever. There's a deflationary effect through the burning mechanism, which makes it interesting. So here with Next, you would have a max cap. That's the thing. You would have a max cap of 100. What happens if you also burn it? So you make it scarce somehow. But then the question is, like, is that something we should include here or just leave it in so people could build protocols on top of Next or in parallel? Now Zenzu says, "Oh, it's so to speak." Do I? Maybe I do. I don't know. Capped coins that have a burning function and yield is the next trend. Watch deflationary DeFi. So trends. Should we jump on the trend, guys? What do you think? Is it the best new iteration? So it's probably gonna be that we're gonna be trendy, guys, with Next, since we're gonna have it probably. What the fractal? What the fractal? Shout out Zen NFTs. Burning MZen on Polygon since before NFTs. That is true. Amazing guy. I love this guy. Super positive. So with his NFTs, he is, with each purchase he is burning MZen on Polygon. So it's just incredible that people are making all these cool projects and playing with it and doing cool stuff. So yes, he was pioneering the burning. He might actually have been first. So that's that. Unicode character E. That's pretty cool. That's interesting. Love it. Finally, some transparency in crypto. Yes, I mean, how cool is this, guys? You're taking part in the design. We're doing this together. You can, like, I know all of you guys that are in here right now listening to this. You're degens. You're especially Zen degens, and you know how Zen works. So it's pretty cool. Like you have the chance right now to be able to have an effect on a protocol that's going to kick ass for sure. So be creative, guys. We listen to everything, like every day. We are Zen gens. Exactly, Play One. We listen to everyone, and read the chats every day, just listening to everyone from a moon boy to a father, to see, like, is there something there that we can improve? And this whole hive mind effect, imagine if more protocols did that, like also use that. It's a huge resource that's not being used. It's thousands of brains. Like, let's create this, and being able to use that high mind resource, it's extremely valuable. And you guys, you're here every day and you're interacting with it. So it's about your future, your self-sovereign future. How would you want this protocol to be in order for you to feel that it's worth? Zengens, there we have it. It's exponential for sure. Like, also imagine, like, all that we're doing here is being, we have a lot to do. Like, all that we're doing here is multiplied with the network effect on all these other chains. So it's where are we going to be in a year, as also the development ecosystem grows and people are building, and Shelly Don says he's excited. He wants to code. He wants to learn. It does make sense. It's all open source, guys. If you learn a little bit of code, you can go on a testnet. We might create our own testnet soon as well. But you can create your own protocol. You can copy Zen. We're zero afraid that people will copy this concept, because what really matters is creating something that's going to work. So if people copy, it's open source, guys. The code is there. You can use it and play with it and make something. And if you're doing something on first principles, you can start your own protocol, your own project. Doesn't have to be with Zen. If it is, if you think it makes sense, and using this horizontal scaling, it does make sense. But ultimately, if you can make more stuff in the world which has these ingredients, it's amazing. So learn to code, learn to play with it. Try what happens when you manipulate all of these different factors. That's how you learn, and to play with it. Yeah, guys. All right. This was a marathon again. I hope you enjoyed it. And let's summarize. What are we doing? We're making Nex. First day and the rest of our life. Next. It's an ERC20 token, capped to 100 million. It's going to be distributed inverse exponential probably somehow. It's predetermined daily distribution of the tokens. You're going to have to compete for them. The desired behavior is that you burn as much as possible, as fast as possible, and then stake NEX for as long as possible. Based on first principles, there's two parts. It's the distribution reflection. It's the vertical integration of Zen. We need this stuff. This is where we are now, the design. We're very early. Get your feedback, get your minds going, talk about it, see what people think. This is how we do it, baby. And this is the schematics. So have fun with it, destroy it, attack it, play with it. Because when it's immutable, it's there. We're stuck with it for 10 years and longer. So LFG guys, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Love you guys. It's amazing. I'm just enjoying this ride. It's not just about making yield protocols. It's about making the opportunity available for people in the present and in the future to be more self-sovereign, to have more power in their lives, and not to be tossed around by idiocy. So that's what we want to do, and it's a long journey. It's a super long journey, but we've come like a long way already together. So we don't even need to accelerate. We just need to continue at the pace we're doing, and keep like so. It's not only about building. Like education is a super important part of this. Making people understand why these principles are important. Because I've been burned. I've lost capital based on the fact that it was in protocols or centralized platform that I had to give up custody for. I had to learn that hard way, and it sucks, really. So it's not like I was born and then, okay, yeah, self-custody makes sense. You know, you learn by mistakes, and I never want to experience that again. But a large part, like 95% of the population, they don't have custody of any of their assets. Maybe their hard assets, like their house or something, but definitely not their digital assets or their cash or the assets they have on bank and insurance products and everything. So they don't know. So the question is, how do you, like, you can educate, but you also got to create stuff. So they don't even know what goes on under the hood. So there's a journey here in the short term, but also in the long term to continue making these stuff happen. And it's not, you can make great things, but you just have to start doing it. Jack's done it. He's made stuff. He was sitting in a server hall alone, pulling in cables, and made something that changed everyone's lives forever. So it does matter, like the decisions we take now in the design of stuff. I might have said asses. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming in. Start working. Do your homework. And good to see you. So see you next time. See you in the Telegram. Goodbye.